Hey, therapists, are you tired of feeling chained to your chair, believing that the only way for you to earn income is through one-on-one sessions? Imagine if you could increase your freedom, your flexibility, and your income without sacrificing what you love. In fact, you will be seeing more people of who you love and dealing with your dream clients more often. If you're a therapist, counselor, course creator, expert, pastor, or anyone looking to diversify their income, I have a solution for you. It begins with joining the Course Creator Hub. This is a free community where you can interact with other course creators, other experts, learn from each other, support each other, build some accountability, and have access to me and some of my handouts that I make frequently. So I'm inviting you to join me in the Course Creator Hub. I'd love to interact with you and support you on your mission. Go to courses.coursecreatorstudio.com/store for your free access today. I can't wait to meet you inside. Join today. Hello, and welcome to the Scaling Therapy Practice. This is your host, James Marland. This is the show where we empower mission-driven leaders to launch life-changing online courses. Today, I have a great special guest for you. It's Heather Fischbuch. She is the owner of Flourish Health Intervention. No, wait. Flourish Health. What is that word? Invermere.
It's the town I live, Invermere.
Invermere. Okay. Flourish Health Invermere. Oh, that's the name of your practice.
Yes.
Told you I failed phonics, right? I'm just filling that in. I think that's funny. Okay. Flourish Health Invermere. And she is helping people with her practice and starting to launch some online courses. I loved her story, and I thought it would be very relevant to the audience as they start thinking about what they're going to offer. Just a small bit about Heather before she tells us about herself. Heather's a holistic health practitioner of more than 40 years in the discipline of massage therapy, nutrition, herbal medicine, and aromatherapy, and acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine. So you got a wealth of information, and we met recently in a networking course event, and I love hearing her story, and I wanted her to share her story with the audience and invite her on the show. So Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And I really love that your podcast empowers people. I enjoy that word, and I aspire to it.
Well, your story is empowering me. So tell me a little bit about your history. You have a lot of, you know, in your bio, you have 40 years of experience. Tell us how you came to this point.
Sure. So initially, I wanted to be a physiotherapist. I was 373rd on the waiting list at my university closest to me. And so I looked at some other alternatives because it would have taken me 2 years of general study sciences to get honors and then get accepted. So that seemed like a long path. So instead, I went into rehabilitation. I worked with disabled folks for a while. And then I became a massage therapist and loved that. It did what I wanted in the realm of helping people recover. And I actually excelled at that and actually taught that for a number of years. I had a 10-year science project in the aromatherapy and herbal realm where I distilled native plants from Alberta and British Columbia, where I live, and presented at the World Aromatherapy Conference. So it really whet my appetite for that research aspect and science and art combination in holistic medicine. So aromatherapy is so much more than just making things smell good. There's actual chemistry and herbal medicine involved. And I dove deep into that and distilled over 50 plants. And like I say, a 10-year science project that really empowered my life and put my kids through college. So Then I bought a spa and wore my hands out because spa work can be very intense, doing massage for 8 or 10 hours a day. And
Wow.
I needed to go retrain. And I still loved holistic medicine. So then I retrained as a doctor of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And it was really a culmination, a connecting of the dots of all of those science aspects and the art aspect and even the spirit aspect of the energy work and body work and sacredness of being in another's personal space in such an intimate, trusting situation. So the acupuncture and TCM gets into that, and it really treats body, mind, and spirit simultaneously. So I rebranded and closed the spa, opened a clinic, and now historically, the World Health Organization lists 150 diseases that acupuncture can very successfully treat, ranging from infertility to migraines to eczema to sciatica to degenerative and arthritis. Like it's very, very wide. And we really look at root causes. So it's a real love affair that I'm having with this very holistic medicine. And I think the story you're wanting to pull from me is how I kind of saved my own life with using
Yeah. 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 So you've been very successful in what you've done. You know, you can't put your kids through college without being successful in that realm. You've rebranded yourself a couple times. You keep reinventing yourself. And when we talked, we're talking about digital courses or digital products, and you're doing it seems like a in-person hands-on thing. And also, you were saying you had to find a different way because something happened that kind of took away some of what you were doing. So, continue on the story. You've been very successful. You rebranded, and then something happened. What happened to make you start for the change?
So about 2 years ago, I've always been very physically active. I don't know if you can tell from my little headshot here, but I'm slender and I have a six pack and I'm over 60. And I climb mountains and I ride bikes and I hang glide and paraglide off of mountains. So I've had a very active, healthy life. And unfortunately, 3 of my 4 grandparents died of strokes, and my dad has a heart condition. So there is a genetic predisposition to that. I was aware of that. I was taking all the nutritional supplements for that. And I had a stroke at the age of 60. So initially, I thought, man, I've got a headache. I'm not quite right here. I've got a headache. My thinking's not clear. My hand feels like it's got a pinched nerve. It's dropping things. I was actually dropping acupuncture needles, which is not a good thing to do. So, I do have another hand. So I used that hand that day and went home early because of this nasty headache and made myself some soup and tea. But I couldn't feel the temperature on the left side of my face of the soup and tea. And that's when it dawned on me, this is more than a pinched nerve. This is a stroke. So then I went and looked in the mirror and did the tests. And yes, I was having a stroke. So again, my thinking wasn't super clear at that time. But so I phoned my best friend and said, hey, could you come over? I think I might need to go and get driven to the hospital. I didn't think to phone the ambulance for some reason. And she said, yeah, I'll be there in half an hour. So I said, okay, that gives me time to plunk in some needles. So I treated myself. We are trained as acupuncturists to treat strokes. And usually I see a person 2 to 4 weeks after they've had the stroke and they're already kind of paralyzed and we're doing the big recovery. Well, I did the acupuncture while the stroke was happening. Maybe a couple hours after it initially started, but the paralysis hadn't fully set in. My face was sagging and my hand felt more like a flipper than a hand. But I could still, move. I could still talk. I could still do that stuff. So anyway, I did the needles. I also did a technique called moxibustion, which is basically heat along those meridians that were affected in my face and my hands, my one hand. And my friend arrived there. We went and got checked up by the doctor. And within the hour, my face and hand had bounced back. Still had the headache. So, they ran the usual tests and they said, well, perhaps it was a TIA, which is a small stroke. And they said, well, we'll send you for a CT scan. And that happened a few days later. And it wasn't a small stroke. It was about, I'll use inches for you, 1.5 inch by 1 inch, size of a toonie in our coinage here in Canada. And at the right occipital edge of my brain, corresponding to the left hemisphere of my body, probably would have been severely paralyzed had I not done those points and moxibustion immediately while it was happening. So I feel very fortunate that I knew which points to use. I had used them previously in clinic with other clients who had experienced strokes in their histories, and it worked like a charm. So I am living proof how effective it is to have acupuncture when very close to when you're actually having a problem. So that left me quite weakened, and I had a heart condition that had led up to this. So that predisposition was there. And because I was fit, and a doctor myself, I was pretty light on the system. And we went through this whole pandemic when people weren't really seen in doctor's office, they were phoned. So I had been complaining for a few years of palpitations. And my doctor, being a white middle-aged man, patted me on the head and said, "Oh, it's menopause, dear. You just need to get fitter," knowing my fitness level was pretty high, but urging me to get fitter, which was probably not the right thing to do. But I forgive him. He wasn't aware of how bad it was, and I didn't push the issue. And we moved on. So the heart condition combined with the lingering weakness from the stroke, like I say, I got my feeling back. I got my face back. I could still see, think, and do, but my energy level was pretty zapped. If I worked 2 hours, I would need to nap for 3 hours. So that was my impetus to look at, I need to do something online, that I don't need to actually physically go and massage and be present with people, that I need to have an online diversification of my income, using my skills, using my brain, which was still working relatively well, and coaching people and teaching them how to be empowered and optimize their health using the skills that I want to share. So thus I went and took some training. That brings us kind of...
Yeah. You ran into a problem that a lot of people might run into because of your health, but you either couldn't do what you were doing before, or you just ran out of time and energy. Like we all have limited time and energy. Unfortunately, yours got like severely cut short by the physical issues. But I think we can all relate to, I just don't have enough time. I just don't have enough energy to do everything I need to do or everything I want to do. And you're a helper by nature. Like you're a helper and a healer and a trainer, a coach by nature. And so you started looking for other ways to, you said diversify your income, but still help people earn a living doing what you are good at. And you came up with online courses or an online product. How did you find the courses that you were looking for? Did you do a search? Did you talk to people?
Well, in my past, I had taught at massage schools before. My 10-year science project in aromatherapy, I had taught internationally to audiences interested in aromatherapy. And in my practice, my traditional Chinese medicine practice, I really saw how significant sleep was to be a pillar of people's good health. So those things really jumped out at me. Is is the aromatherapy I'd done multiple times. The various massage techniques I'd done multiple times in multiple ways. And the sleep is such a need for so many, whether, I sort of honed in on those three as initial, and who knows where it may go in the future. But those were very familiar topics to me that I'd either taught in the past or I felt well-versed enough that I could really do quality presentations on. So I did my market research. I did my phoning around to and emailing around to 30 or 50 people, kind of gaining their perspective and their problems, their identification, and what are their priorities in any of those three, and made courses from them. It was a slow process. Like I say, I was still very much recovering. So even, I would do my 2 hours of clinic work just to keep the cash flowing. And I did offer an aromatherapy one because it was easy. I did offer it as a hybrid, both in person and via Zoom. So that was interesting. First time I'd done a hybrid type course. And then the second one was totally online. And that was the sleep strategies for insomniacs. And felt quite successful with that in that I got great testimonials. And yes, I was able to impact their sleep patterns in just a 4-week period. We met once a week for an hour, and then they would have homework that I would assign during the lesson, and they would work on it. And each of the participants had progress. I'm not going to say they are cured, but they had significant progress.
So I love how you explained what you did, and you were able to launch. But we both know that having an idea and launching courses, it just doesn't happen. There's like work and problems to work out as you went through. So can you remember what's a problem that you've had that you had to work out, and how did you solve it with, and this is a wide open question because there could be this right at this point, like I have an idea and I launched a course. In between, there's this chasm of problems that can happen. So what was one of your problems and how did you solve it?
I'm a very hands-on person, and often those personalities aren't very technically adept. So I would say technology was my big hurdle. I did find a few resources that had that technology piece adapted or dialed in. So I used those platforms. I don't know if you want me to name names, but
Yeah, go ahead.
There are platforms out there such as Rizuku, such as Coach's Console, that have platforms that are a plug and play, that you fit your bits of information into its format. And so I used those, and I became much more adept at Zoom than I ever was prior to that. And
Do you have a paid Zoom account probably?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's been worth it. Like I use it, if not daily, at least several times a week. And it's become a real pillar of my evolving business. Did you use Rizuku at first, or did you try to offer it low tech just through Zoom, or did you go straight to a platform? I have both. The first 2 courses I've offered were straight through Zoom. Well, first one was a hybrid, so in-person and Zoom combo. Second one was straight through Zoom with recordings and homework presented on the Zoom. And those, I'm using those models and putting the lessons into Rizuku, and those lessons now live on my website. So it's been I do like some of the other platforms such as Teachable and Udemy, and I'm sure there's several others that host courses, but having it on my website, I control the price. On some of those, they put 50% off prices on, and I don't control the price. So I'm still debating about putting them on some of those other existing platforms, And Rizuku has a good, robust platform as well. So it might be found there. My income is still pretty modest, to be honest with this. It is a process. I still very much need to work in my clinic to pay the bills, but I'm looking at the big picture. And,
Yeah.
in the 1 to 2 years from now, really wanting to see my income become half from online work and half person work. And that is evolving.
I think that's a big point, though, that you put out there. You have a long-term plan and you're working the plan, and you realize your expectations are optimistic but realistic, like, yes, if I keep doing this, I have to keep working at it, but if I keep doing the right things, I can build an online income system that can replace my system. It's not, unless you catch lightning in a bottle, that's the reality for most of us, that we work at it, we develop those relationships, we solve those problems, we get better at our craft, we deliver our service, we grow, and then we just keep doing the same steps over and over again. And also, one of the things that I should have learned that I didn't do is I did buy a platform first, which was great because I needed a web page and I needed a place to host my podcast. But I think I bought I use Kajabi. I love Kajabi. I tell people to use Kajabi because it has all inclusive platform services, but I should have probably done a low tech solution, through Zoom or whatever, instead of paying, $120 a month or whatever I'm paying for Kajabi. I could have done it for much cheaper with the low tech, hey, we're going to meet on Zoom. Here's the Word document that we're going off of, and we're going to just do it. And that's a much cheaper way to do it than buying a platform. However, the only way to scale is to automate some of those things. And that is what the platform does. It automates the student experience, the courses, the payment processing, communication. That's what when you're ready to grow, you got to find ways to scale. And I think the platforms help you. Okay. So you were about to say something. What did I cut you?
No, your point is very valid, and I agree with the bulk of it. I have found out through this first 2 courses that I've offered that I really don't enjoy the marketing aspect of it. I enjoy the presentation. I enjoy interaction with the clients. That's what I got from my patients in my clinic. And that's what I get. I feel that go back to our word empowering from the start. I feel like I'm empowering people when I'm sharing that information.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm bugging them when I'm sending them 15 emails to sign up for my course. So my resolution in coping with those feelings, because I think many of us experience that, is to go back to something that I did in my 10-year science project. Back then I was touted as a regional expert in that I would tour, Western states and provinces, speaking at any aromatherapy group that wanted me, including the World Aromatherapy Council. So, I toured my signature offering. And there is one of the marketing gurus that I've followed for over 20 years, Tad Hargrave, who has a course called Marketing for Hippies. I kind of identified. He really, and he's partnered up with another fellow who has done really well in online platforms and marketing and offering courses and in, like I say, that hippie or alternative health realm. And touring or speaking engagements gain me the know, like, and trust factor that is necessary with those 15 previous emails that I had to send. And I would much rather have them meet me at an in-person speaking event that I come to your local arthritis society or your local migraine sufferers annual or general meeting, or, your infertility support group or whatever. And I go and speak, and they hear me, and they realize that I've got a diversity of skills that I can relate to their root causes and provide some support and direction in their healing. So in identifying that path, that's my path forward, is I'm going to be touring or finding affiliates to host my work. So perhaps some of your audience might be affiliates, that I come in, do a presentation, and in that affiliation, perhaps they come and do a presentation to my audience. Because I have 1,000 very loyal patients in my corner of British Columbia. And, if we were to bring in a speaker from California or Washington or Ontario or whatever, I would put that out to my clients. And, that affiliate marketing, referrals are a great source of trust. And I have used it in the past very successfully, and I will be using that going forward.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of points you made there. One of the I have two big ones. One, I think when we help each other, the course creators and the helpers and the healers, when we help each other, everybody climbs the mountain together. You said you climbed mountains, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it much better to climb when maybe. I'm just assuming it's better to climb in a group with friends than by yourself, right?
Right. And we support each other and we learn from each other.
Yep.
And you share that joy and moments. Yeah.
Yeah, you made it to the top. It's so much better when you're doing it with other people. Let's all help each other get to the top. That's
building relationships, whether you're building relationships with your potential clients or you're building relationships with your cohorts, your other people that are in the same shoes as you, walking the same walk. You can commiserate over the challenges. You can say, hey, I found a solution for that. You with your Kajabi or me with my Rizu. This worked really well for that component. Try it out. Maybe it'll work for you too. Little tips are invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. So somebody said, if you're all taking a bus to Disneyland, you're all excited to go to Disneyland. If we're all, you just get on the bus and you have a good time and you share the stories. It's like a party. I want to have a party with my friends building these online courses. What is the other point I was going to make? Oh, so I really resonate with not wanting to sell to people. I feel like selling is a lot of manipulation and twisting people's arms and manipulating the timetable and saying, oh, you're not going to get this bonus or this thing if you don't sign up now, or it's only offered. I can only offer my digital course for the next, 30 days. That's not true. You can offer a digital course whenever. It's digital. It's always there. Sure. There's no limits on bits. So I just feel manipulated sometimes. So I don't like to do that to people. But I asked this question in a group mastermind yesterday. It was really yesterday. And Danny, the person who was answering the questions, when I said, oh, I don't like selling and I don't like manipulating people. And he's like, well, that's a red flag. Or he said something like, that's a red flag. Because he said, selling is awesome. I'm like, really? Selling is awesome? How can selling be awesome? And he's like, when I'm paraphrasing, but basically when I'm selling, I am helping people and I am solving their problems. And when you look at it oh, I can solve your problem, selling is awesome, because then you get to get energized by what you can do the best. For you, you're like, I love to help people with their sleep, or, you can solve all those problems. And when you solve those problems for them, it really energizes you. You're helping your dream client get their dream result. It helps them and you feel good about it. And what if you could just do that every day? over and over and over again. How cool would that be to solve problems for people with your superpower every day? I'm just really excited about the online courses, online course business, your online course, as you get it like optimized. Just think how many people you can help with their sleep problem or their pain problem in the next year. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's transformational. And I think, they really talk about in courses, their pain island and their pleasure island. You're the boat between the two. And
Yes. And you take people over and
you
over
presented
again.
it. Yeah. So, I think there is that transformational, and it doesn't have to be manipulative. But I think with the power of affiliate marketing, the power of meeting people and developing relationships rather than just bombarding them with volume has been how I've made peace with it. I would rather talk to a group of, even half a dozen people in a church basement, that want to hear about insomnia options to, we'll all meet at like 1:30 in the morning.
Because that's when they're up. Well, that's perfect.
So, I'd rather, because then they see my integrity. They feel my honestness and passion for their topic. It doesn't often translate on a black and white email. And I think we all develop our mailing lists. We have lead magnets, whether we're on social media or whatever. But the world is changing. And I think 10 years ago, with the start of online courses, and particularly in the last 4 or 5, the huge expansion into online courses, we are bombarded by them now. And we're kind of craving that personal connection again. And I feel really good about getting back to that feeling that I experienced 20 years ago during my 10-year science project of aromatherapy, of being the regional expert and going and speaking at that person's college or that friend's aromatherapy club or this person's migraine sufferers and weekly meeting or whatever, and providing them that boat from Pain Island to Pleasure Island to that group of people, and then selling them, here's how you sign up for my 3-month course. Let's get you sleeping better or feeling better or less migraines or whatever. And so I go and do my freebie, which they receive value from in that hour or two that they're there. They know they get 3 or 4 tips to help them off of their pain island and maybe onto the boat. And then we'll sail them the rest of the way if they sign up for their, whatever course that I'm offering. And so that's sort of where I'm at now, is devising this signature touring workshop. Whether I tour it virtually or tour it in person is yet to be determined, or some hybrid of both. And developing these affiliate relationships, which I feel these podcasts can very much lend themselves to, in getting the word out about what's working for me and developing those partnerships with other people that want to work compatibly in that realm.
Awesome. So I have 2 questions left. One is, in a year, and we come back and talk again, what are we celebrating? What are the good things that have happened for you, Heather?
Well, I have gently put it out there, and I use gently very selectively. I don't want to be rigid. I don't want to be black and white in my life. I want to be gentle and allowing things to happen. I would love to take several months off next winter and maybe meet you virtually from someplace tropical that's not having a tropical storm, as you might be in the near future in your neighborhood. But I'm at that age that I'd love to go somewhere warm for part of the winters and still have a decent income in those months. My 10 or so hours a week that I can tune in to offer courses or meet with clients virtually. So that's my goal, is within 1 year to be able to do that. And whether I'm someplace warm or in my own lovely backyard, because it is really lovely. I live in the Rocky Mountains of British Columbia. And I like skiing as well as places tropical. So anyway, the choice, or the ability to make income online as well as in my in-person lawn clinic is really appealing. So I'd like half my income to be coming from online sources.
Neat. So, where can we find you online? Like, what are you offering now? And where can people look up what you have on the internet?
My website is flourishinghealth.ca. That's CA because I'm in Canada. And I do have several courses on there. So the sleep strategies for insomniacs is a great course. The aromatherapy, personalized for your autonomic nervous system body type, is a kind of a pretty awesome course that will make aromatherapy more effective for anybody who takes it. And they're very reasonably priced. And I'm excited to offer those on my website. And like I say, down the road, I may put them on other platforms. I'm also on social media, Flourishing Health Invermere on Facebook, and flourishing_health_Invermere on Instagram, and Heather Fischbuch on LinkedIn. And you can get my tips and points there.
I'll definitely put those in the show notes. Well, Heather, this has been delightful. I really enjoyed talking with you and hearing your story and just your perseverance, but also your heart for helping people live better lives. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you too. It's been great meeting you and hearing what you're doing. And I appreciate this podcast and wish I would have heard something like it myself a couple of years ago. So I appreciate your work as well.
Well, thank you. So this is James Marlin for the Scaling Therapy Practice. It's now time to go put your mission in motion.